Hey everybody, my name is Demon. This is Anorian Tales, a fate-based game set in an Asian-inspired region of my D&D world. Episode 1: The Mountain Spirit. You are of the Ronin social class. You are wanderers. Essentially, you are a group of, I guess, what you would call adventurers. Generally, your social class is to the point of, peasants or lower than peasants, though depending on who hired you, you might be telling samurai what to do. And that is something people don't like, generally speaking. You guys have been hired to look into a problem with a mountain spirit in the small mountain village of Anhailao. Let's do character descriptions.
Jinny, or Jinriffle Nefol, is a tiefling. He has an ashen skin, uncharacteristic red hair, black horns, wears kind of dark clothing, and has wings that are back wings that kind of fold around him, and tries to wear very flowy types of outfits. So anything that has some extra cloth. Tends to carry a couple books with him, and maybe a religious-like looking artifact.
Lugnug. Strong. He's a big burly man who kind of skipped a leg there a little bit. Not too bad, but it's more noticeable when you look at his legs compared to his huge abs and ginormous arms. He usually wears he wears and brings the necessities, which is his just enough clothes to be protected from weather, his swords, the holster, and booze, water, and something meaty. He pretty much wears a cloak. Pants are kind of down to knee height. He wears shoes, I guess, sometimes, depending on where he is.
Amaran, kinda average looking. Not a whole lot. He's incredibly well built across the shoulders and arms, because he always lugs around a intimidatingly large bow. Clothing-wise, I should probably specify that he's a Lamia and therefore has no legs, or just snake bit. Wears just a simple vest with really large quiver hanging off his waist, and generally just carries around the necessities.
Scale color?
Kind of a mottled brownish green.
May is a pink-haired fox girl, Kitsune. Smallish build, lithe, sleek looking. Often wears a blue kind of shrine-ish maiden outfit, I don't know. She seems to be carrying a satchel filled with pieces of paper and lots of ink and a brush.
You are traveling your mountain passes. It's raining. You're getting into fall here, and so you have a slightly chilly rain coming down. Mist is rising off of the mountains and kind of pouring into the valleys. You can't really see the cloudy sky very well. So you're up in the mountains and been walking for a couple days. You are soaking wet at this point, especially your feet, leg area where water kind of splashes up as you walk. Things are getting a little muddy, but the sun kind of peeks through the clouds and everything starts to lighten up a bit. You get a beautiful view of the snow-capped mountains. Eventually there's pine forest, and as you get further down, it starts getting kind of mixed. There's a lot of mist rolling in off the mountains. And as you come around a corner of this ever-narrowing path, you are left with, or you are standing in front of those large gate things. You know, the two large pillars with the logs that go across the top that you find very often in this particular area of Anoria. It is painted red. There should be a village here, and it's possibly maybe around the corner or something. As you pass under this archway and round a slight bend in the road, you do indeed see small farmhouses. They are stacked up alongside the mountain. There is terraced fields. There's only a few actual rice paddies. Most of it seems to be like millet fields. A dog kind of like stands up as you guys come into view, but doesn't bark. He actually kind of like puts his head down and just kind of goes around the edge of the building. He has his tail between his legs currently, and despite the fact that this village is here in the middle of the day, it seems much like it's dead.
Which is odd.
Is there any way for me to use necromancy to see if there's any spirits around?
Yeah, just give me a magic. Alright, and you were specifically looking for spirits in the area?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you kind of open your sight to that aspect of the world. Immediately speaking, there's nothing in this village, but as you're looking around at the mist that is coming down from the mountains, kind of glows off the sun rather brightly, and when you like shake your head out of it, you notice the mist is not actually that bright. So, in a sense, the mist itself is some type of spirit, or at least tainted with some type of spirit.
I said, and I told them that the fog isn't exactly fog.
It's not natural.
Well, it's more spirit, maybe?
Let's go to the other side of town then.
Alright.
See if the fog is like, something sinister.
Well, oh, maybe you guys should give me notice checks.
Notice checks, I suppose I can get.
And if we don't have notice? I said, and if
Oh,
we
I have-
don't...
I have the aspect of highly sensitive eyes.
This
Does
is
that...
a hearing thing.
Oh, hearing thing? Never mind then.
Are we listening for something?
Yes. If you don't have notice, then you roll it as a
Mediocre.
or something, so that's just a 0.
Okay.
So everyone except for the tiefling, who is too focused on staring at the fog, can hear the sounds of bells and chanting.
I am going.
I'm
Yeah.
already starting to pull an arrow out, because... Fuck this.
Sort of like that.
As soon as you pull it out, like Nug is just like, he starts to smile. He's like, he does that like itchy finger thing with the trigger with his sword. He's just like, ooh.
Alright, so, yeah, you take a few steps into the village. An old man sitting on his front porch area there. That's not really a porch, that thing out in front of that platform out in front of the houses with the large overhang over it. He looks over at you guys as you enter in. Oh, hello.
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 Are you from La Sienne?
I think that's where we came from, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we're from that town.
You're here about the spirit.
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. He'll, like, push himself up. Follow me.
Okay.
So he's an old guy. Human. Long white beard. Kind of hunched over a little bit. Got a cane. And, he kind of slow. But he is going to march over to the far side of town, along the mountain. You do realize that there are actually plenty of people here, but they're all being really quiet and really careful. You know, there's like a child that pokes his head out of the door, but doesn't actually leave when you guys come in here. Few people actually working at the harvest of the millet field, but it's not the same kind of... usually when you do harvest, there's a lot of singing, and there's like everybody would be out there doing it all together. These people seem rather timid, like they're very carefully cutting the grain, staring over their shoulders, looking around, cutting more grain, that kind of thing. You'll be brought to what is essentially a watchtower is the wrong word for it, but you know, a higher platform with a cover is attached to a building, which is probably a granary. Old guy's going to slowly make his way up the ladder. He's out of breath by the time he gets up there.
I mean, a lot of people probably would.
Yeah, well, when you do get up there, there is an Onikai, slightly blue-tinged skin, dark hair. He's got the small, white, pointed horns kind of sticking out of his head, slowly, gently curving upward. And he is staring almost unblinkingly at the edge of the forest, where the mist essentially kind of slowly creeps out. There is a older lady in a kind of traditional robe type thing with little like a talisman type things on her. She has was essentially a little smoke canister on a stick and some bells, and is walking back and forth along the line of the forest, chanting. That's you know, that kind of thing, which is what you heard earlier. And as you all crowd up here, which is it's a little tight because it's not meant for this many people. You all crowd up here. Yeah, the old man's like, "This is Ube. He went into the mountains to check on the woodsman. Ube, you tell them." And Ube does this thing where he slowly turns his head slightly to you, then suddenly looks at all four of you, then eyes back on the edge of the forest, and he says, "Is Lao Shen."
Lao Shen.
Lao Shen. White Tiger.
I've noticed him watching the forest. Can I see if there's anything up with the forest?
Sure. You can give me perception. And you can add your aspect, yes.
So what would that be?
It's a plus 2.
1 or 7?
Damn, that's good. You are staring over the forest, and the mist is kind of, you know, like sticking its little tendrils out, and it seems to stop. Like there's a spot where it stops. That shouldn't be stopping. It should be filtering further into the valley, which is a little odd. And as you're trying to, figure out exactly what it is that's bothering him, you realize that there's like no life in the woods. It's just silent and still, and the only thing moving is the mist.
Oh, so can I roll knowledge for Lao Shen? 4.
He's 4. So, the town is called Unhelao. The mountain is called Lao. Lao Shen is essentially the spirit of the mountain.
Okay.
And he said white tiger, so therefore it makes a lot of sense that the white tiger is the form that the mountain spirit apparently takes.
Okay.
Oh, and Lugnug? Yeah, there's
Yes.
that lady that was chanting.
He goes, haha, I see you're looking at the lady. He looks around.
Maya's just rubbing like the bridge of her nose.
You,
Like, oh
you
my
just get
God.
this look from Amaranth. It's just kind of.
She's wondering if she can seal your mouth shut.
Went into the mountain because the logs stopped coming down the streams. So I went to check on the woodsman. And I found what was left of them. And then Lao Shen chased me. And I managed to get away.
Uninjured?
Yes. I am very lucky.
Lugnuk says this thing sounds dangerous. I want to go meet this thing.
Why were we sent to this town again?
Because apparently they're having a problem with a rogue, a spirit that went rogue.
That's what we're sent to take care of it.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got enough information, right, guys?
Finally, something to murder! It's been too long.
The old man kind of pipes, "Oh, I assume you had a long journey here. This could wait till tomorrow morning. I can house feed you."
We should go see it now!
Thank you for your kind gesture. We will surely take you up on that. Look, be quiet.
He pouts.
Right this way. He slowly makes his way down the ladder. So yeah, back to that one original house. This is a small village. This is not a lot of people here. There's an old lady here who will she'll make you some millet. They don't have any rice. Some local vegetables. And the old man tells you, it's a shame that they have to that you might have to actually put down Lao Shen. But if they don't have access to the forest, they will not make it till spring.
We will see if we can find a peaceful resolution. And if not, we will have to.
That is all one can ask for. Yeah, next morning it's not raining, so it's considerably drier, and you can be all dried up and fed and head out. Ube will give you directions. Basically, he will tell you, you just follow the stream up the mountain, and that will eventually lead you to the off-ramp for the logs that the luggers cut. Follow that up, and you will find their platform. So, do be careful.
Okay.
Off we go.
Right. Into the woods. That's where you can give me your perception or your notice checks again. You're walking through this forest. The mist is just kind of everywhere and blocks a lot of vision. But you follow up your creek, and Lugnug, there's no animals.
Huh.
In fact, everybody notices that there's no sounds of birds or insects or small mammals.
Small animals must got scared away by big animal.
And Amaranth, you're Keen Eyes pick up a flash of white among the kind of the drab, dark greens and browns, and I guess misty whites. There is a large tiger up the creek. He's looking at you, and as you notice him and notice what he is, he turns and walks up into the mountains further, and behind him is the chute that the logs come down into the stream that you were told to find.
I'm gonna very slowly knock an arrow. Just kind of carefully aim it that way. Not firing yet. Just tiger up ahead. Big one, white.
Well, let's keep going then. And
It's like Nugget's like starting to get excited. You can see it in his body language.
Proceeding up the stream a little bit further, you do find this, essentially it is a wooden chute that comes down up from this, up the mountain. And essentially what they do is they put logs on here, and they actually dump some water down it, which kind of makes it all greased up, and logs get pushed down into this area. Inside this creek, you can see was essentially some logs that have been tied together into a small barge-like thing that can make it down the creek. And essentially they'll pull it out of the mountains, square it off, put it in the creek, tie it together, send it down the creek till it gets to a river, then put it into essentially what is a large barge and just float the logs down to town. You find no tracks in the mud.
okay, so I think she'll just continue on the way that she believes the tiger went.
Up the hill along the chute. So,
She's also prepared a barrier type deal.
okay. Jenny,
Yes.
you've been rather quiet. What are you thinking?
Well, he said spirit of the mountain, and trying to think if try and call out the spirit and say, "Hey, sup?" I guess. You don't have to talk to me. Most people don't.
Oh.
There's a reason for it.
There is no response.
It's okay, I understand. It's fine.
Follow the chute up, and what you come up on is essentially a large open space. There are wood planks laid out on the ground to kind of build it up a little bit out of the mud. There is like tables and workbenches and saw stuff. There are tools scattered everywhere. Some of the tools are held onto by a decomposing hand that is missing the rest of its body. There are the decomposing bits of viscera and limbs of people. This place is caked in mud and gore.
Healthy, normal day.
Ew.
There's something else to murder here. Can we move on?
Yeah, she's just kind of disgusted.
Are you sure there's nothing to murder here? Did you look over in that little spot there?
Some type of check, notice, investigation, survival.
Over enthusiastic.
She's a little bit more than just a little disgusted, apparently.
Yeah, the smell is terrible. No animals came to actually eat this, so it's just rotting.
Lovely.
And Lugnug is found something a bit amusing. You get a large footprint, right?
Yeah.
You're a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're comparing your footprint to the much larger footprint next to it.
Ooh, I think Big Monster went that way. Because his footprint's here.
Well then.
Well, if you point to the level of knowledge.
I'm as smart as a brick. I can't roll knowledges.
I don't have any knowledge either. It's
Your kitsune concludes that this is a very large human footprint. Your tiefling concludes that this is definitely not a human footprint. Honestly, you're thinking troll.
I beat up trolls before. They're fun to beat up.
Only troll I see is you.
Oh.
Trolls are strong. I'll take that as a good compliment.
The only true troll is life itself.
Oh god.
The most depressing bard ever.
True trolls travel through dwindling.
Okay, May's leaving. She's just gonna go follow the footprint.
So, knowledge 0.
Yep.
Yeah, trolls are rare in this part. But, like Lugnug said, you know, Hayes killed many of them, right?
That's his catch line.
Of all sizes.
Alright, so as you're following these footprints, essentially you come across, you can follow the area where people were slid across the ground, or dragged across the ground, up into a cave that kind of is naturally formed out of the mountain outcropping.
So I want to go in the cave. Can we go in the cave?
Yeah, you can go in the cave. Lugnug goes in the cave.
Guess
Well,
we'll
May's gonna
follow.
follow, I guess.
Okay.
Before I go in the cave, he goes in the cave, takes a deep breath, he goes, "Come out here, you coward!"
Alright. So the cave resounds with coward, 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 coward. And then you guys can all give me notice checks. This is sound-based. Lugnug yells into a cave, and everybody's sitting there listening as the sound kind of echoes around out of the cave and around some of the mountainous caverns and stuff like that. And you do hear something, but it's coming from like your southeast. And it sounds like something very large walking through the woods, dragging something else that's very large.
oh,
You have like think of roughly a round to set yourself up. And by you, I mean Amaranth and Lugnug.
I would like to transmute one of my arrows into metal, like an entirely metal barb thing, so it can't be pulled out easily.
Okay. Big, large creature. 9 feet tall, 4 eyes. A large kind of maul type thing that has almost like tusk type things, almost like an orc's tusk where they stick up from the bottom. Bipedal, kind of humanoid-ish, big hunched back, head down low. He is dragging an elk behind him as he comes across his entryway to his cave. He is going to give out a loud kind of type bellow.
As soon as he does that, I also do the same thing. I yell at him.
Alright, so there's a small screaming match between this troll and Lugnug. Knowledge checks.
I got a 5 for intimidate.
5 for intimidate. Okay, give me a second.
Troll's brain short circuits for a second. Loud noise! Dangerous!
He passed his will save.
Well,
Yeah.
I tried.
He attempts to out loud yell you. Mai?
Yo.
That is specifically a mountain troll, which is much bigger than the normal trolls.
Anything else?
Fire and acid would be really great now. Expect some type of regen ability.
Can I shoot first?
Sure.
Because all this yelling is making me scared.
Let
And
me
I would like it to stop.
I too would like to torch that troll to make him shut up.
Amaranth.
I would like to shoot him with the metal arrow. 4.
He got a 4. Did you want to burn a fate point?
Yes.
Okay. He takes damage.
And I'm just gonna kinda, not super loud, just lightning. Because of this massive metal barb sticking out of it.
Yeah. So what happens is you release this massive metal barbed arrow. It flies into him. Where are you aiming?
Upper torso. Around
So-
kind of like the collarbone area.
Sure. Smashes right in above the collarbone.
Oh.
He goes ahead, he grabs it and rips it out. Which probably caused more damage than it did when it went in. Gives out another bellow as he does this. May.
I'm just gonna freaking torch him. Just kind of like a column of fire to do.
He gets a 6.
Well, that's not good.
You can open up on him with fire, and he just kind of walks through it. He
Okay.
is still wet from the walking through the forest, which in itself is kind of humid and misty. Yeah, steam kind of coming off of him. Ginny?
Can I use enchantment on it to just make it more sluggish?
Yes. Essentially, what you are doing is creating a an aspect.
Okay.
Did you beat a 2?
I rolled a 2.
Create an advantage. Ty, you get a boost instead of an advantage. You have a +2 against him.
Or if you burn a fate point, everyone can use it. Which will be me.
What he says is correct.
That I will do.
There is a floating +2 above this troll. Lugnug.
Finally! I'm so excited! I get the bird or something! He walks up. I'll attack this guy. And I'm gonna spend a floating plus.
He shall roll terribly.
So do modifier, I just have to put the number, right? Negative is... You only put a negative, right? If it's bad.
How the hell?
Holy.
3 is my power attack. Plus the 1 floating.
Okay. It's a floating +2.
Oh! It's a +2.
Yep.
I thought, oh, it's not 2 plus...
floating. Floating
So
too.
it's not 2 plus 1s, but it's an actual physical +2.
It is
right?
a physical +2.
Then I got a 10.
Where did the floating +2 come from?
When he uses
from-
magic ability to slow him down.
Yeah. He attempts
Oh.
to mind screw him.
So I got a 10.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, that's a 10. Wow. Alright.
I feel like Rick right now, but with a sword.
That's okay. That's fine.
If you want to make it even better, I could try to add another aspect.
Please no.
Negative.
I thought I'd try.
So, what do you do when you attempt to power attack this person exactly?
I do a leaping strike, and I do both swords down.
Both swords.
Yes.
So, cut into 3s.
What do you mean?
You hit him with 2 swords. That's 2 slices. Therefore, he has 3 pieces.
Oh.
Aspect of Lugnug. 3 is a good number.
And I just, after the chop, I let the sword hit through him, and then I just drag the swords behind me. As I walk this way, okay, I go, alright, where's the next one? This can't be the only one.
This is supposed to be a very hard encounter.
Is that a cave up there, or is that just...
Yeah, that's a
purely-
cave.
Okay.
It is a cave full of disgusting bits and bones and entrails that were not fully devoured, as well as troll fecal matter.
How about we just don't go in there? How about we just, like, try and find that spirit?
Lug's like, fine. There's nothing else here for me.
Alright, well, I'm going inside.
Okay.
I'm going to try my best to avoid the poop.
All right. Yeah, you find some money
Hey!
in a
Oh,
pile
God.
of nasty clothes that was ripped off of a thing.
Meh. Could go where, I guess. Just have to wash this stuff myself really well.
Okay.
So,
You are all rolling notice checks.
Okay. Move
Only
it.
three.
Lion Amarath, that troll flesh just moved, and, as you notice it, it is now picking its head back up, looks at you, and goes,
The one
I
we
said
just
it.
killed?
Wait, do trolls have natural regeneration or
Yep.
something?
Nope.
How do you stop the
That's why-
regeneration?
Fire. I set
Yeah.
its head on fire.
Same. Or try to. Magic.
Amaranth. He rolled a 3.
I'm gonna burn a fate point.
All right.
Light that bitch on fire.
He burns his last fate point. So, essentially, you launch a fireball at him. It hits him in the face. Big, kind of still bloody hand just kind of goes down his face, wiping said fire away. You get a fate point?
Just in case, can I just torch the body and everything in there?
Yeah, you can torch. You rolled a 6.
I'm using a fate point. Fuck off.
Okay. I'm calling this one. I'm
Are you
on
telling me you're using
fire.
Pillar of
And my
Flame?
stunt says I can't heal.
Is it a negative?
It's just
Yes.
like, just this giant column of fire.
Ginny, the fight has resumed.
Lug's gets happy.
yeah, there's not much I can do, because necromancy is spirit stuff and not...
Dude, just keep trying to give him negatives.
You can still hit him with Death Ray.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Okay, Death Ray! Apparently.
Because he's a necromancer, right? So as long as he twists it to be necromancy-like, he can still cast it regardless.
Pretty much. He got a lot of successes. It's too bad he's on fire. 6.
Got a 3.
Hey, Lugnug.
Hi.
Punching bags back up.
Ooh.
He's also on
Runs
fire.
up. Runs up, he's like, again. Do we need bonuses? Or are we out of floating plus 2s?
You're out of floating plus 2.
Okay, I'm not gonna burn a fate point this time because I need to
Oh,
save it.
fuck.
Oh, I still rolled a 6 though.
You got a 1.
Oh. Ouch.
He goes down again. You see his hand twitching as some of its skin attempts to reattach. As the-
Lugnug yells, more fire! More fire!
All for setting this thing even more on fire.
That I assume is a tree here. He's going to attack this tree.
Okay.
Oh god. Does a 2 beat a tree?
The tree takes 2 damage.
Would the troll count as a spirit?
The control would not count as
6.
a spirit until after you killed it.
So 6.
Ha!
Get the tree down.
So, yes, essentially you can roast this thing until
Well-
the point that's a big-ass tree. It takes another 6 damage.
Oh.
So I could roast the...
You can
Control.
roast him to the point where you can take his soul, or his spirit.
Perfect. That's my plan.
Don't worry, I'm helping. Is the tree down yet?
Not yet.
I'm gonna put a bonfire on him.
He is the bonfire!
I wanna put sticks!
Bonfire.
Okay, Timber?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just chopping it up. I'm just like attacking the tree till like stuff flakes all over everywhere.
Let's see here. Starting at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Son of a bitch. Falls right next to the troll.
Yeah. And I pick up a bunch of the pieces everywhere and I just pile them on top of them.
So,
I go.
Is anybody going to inform Lugnug that green wood doesn't burn very well?
Do I
No,
know?
I'm not really noticing that. I'm assuming that Lugnug is actually going to like hit this thing with a tree or something. I just
What? I
trying to
did
set the thing on
intentionally,
fire.
right?
You missed.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter.
You're off by like 3 feet.
Oh, it's okay. I grab all the pieces and I start piling on top of them. I mean, it doesn't burn very well, but it still burns, right?
Because of magic fire.
Fire! We're branding this shit.
Okay. What does it look like when you take your, this creature's spirit and bind it to a talisman?
Well, I guess, like, okay, so assuming that everything, basically every spirit, she sees them as little, like, floating orb type deals, like little wisps. So she literally just grabs talisman and throws it at it, and it just kind of attaches itself to it, and then the spirit kind of goes inside the talisman. Then it
Okay.
falls to the ground.
That happens.
Which case she picks it up and puts it in her bag.
And you are met with the silence of an empty forest. Everybody can give me notice checks. It is sight-based.
4.
-3.
Jesus.
wow.
Ginny!
Yeah.
Troll flesh sizzles and pops like popcorn.
That was not a sight I ever needed to imagine.
Now, the rest of you can notice the very large white tiger sitting over there, watching all of this. It stands up, turns around, walks into the forest. Slowly vanishing into mist. Not into the mist, into mist.
God damn it. Well, she's gonna follow in that direction.
An hour later, you end up at a small village. And you guys can give me notice checks.
4 again.
What exactly is Ginny currently thinking at the moment?
Ginny is trying to create a poem for this burning troll flesh.
So, Ginny's working on a poem while you're traveling down the mountain. He's following behind you. The rest of you are listening to the tweets of birds and whatnot, and May and Amaranth can actually see animals actually existing here now.
Oh, the animals are back.
The animals have come out of the forest, or out of their hiding spots, or wherever they were.
It was the troll.
Yeah,
You know what I forgot to do? Forgot to grab its head.
you can take its skull.
Yay.
It's crispy bird skull,
That's fine.
caramelized fat on it.
Ugh.
He sticks it on his belt.
Okay, so we finally see animals.
Yes.
And we're heading towards a village?
And you follow that white tiger thing. You end up at the village.
Yeah, we
The one
started
that
it.
we came from?
Yep.
What a nice tiger. He led us home.
Benevolent spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess we'd go back and tell them what actually happened.
Okay. You, spin your story.
I clonked the skull on the table.
Gory details of popping troll flesh
In poem form.
in a, emo gothic poem form.
Yes, thank you.
What about a rap?
The old man's like, oh, I prefer a haiku.
Oh.
Demon Troll is dead. He was not very strong.
The songs Eastern Thought, Dhaka, Ripples, Send for the Horses, and Mountain Emperor by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Some of the background ambience and sound effects are from Syrinscape. Check them out at syrinscape.com. And hey, thanks for listening.